So, okay, so let's go. We do, oh, actually, do a little, oh, oops, a checklist. So we're talking about healing, damage mitigation, boon access across the board, and utility. So who can do all the fancy things, and who can't really do much at all. So we also talk about the weapons. I know it's the weapons beta, numbers might change, so keep that in mind. Right, there will be tweaking and all that kind of stuff, but we know, and also it's gonna be another month, like a few months until they're actually finally properly in the game. But we have at least an idea of how this will affect playstyle of builds. So to heal, damage mitigation, mitigation actually. So this is all a structure here for myself, so don't forget. Do boons with many O's, there you go, boom, and utility. So this is the script basically. Also keep in mind, this is for I feel like I have to say this is not for speed running raids. Of course it will look slightly different, let's say that. If you want to go with like super optimized compositions, and you want to do like competitive raiding, all these kinds of things will be very different. This is more for I want to get into raiding, I want to raid, I know what I'm doing, I want to go with park groups, I don't necessarily know everyone in the team, where they're coming from, where they're at, are they even skilled, right? So more this kind of environment, right? Or maybe like a beginner static, etc, etc. Do I just do hero points to find them in the world? No, you have to do the hero points on every character. But yeah, you just do them as you find them in the world, of course. The hero points in the expansion maps give you more hero points. So you do one hero point event thingy, whatever it may be, it's a channel or thingy, kill an enemy or whatever, right? And they give you 10 hero points. If you do them in the core game, they give you 1. So if you want to speed this up, you can go to an expansion map and get them there faster. But yeah, just do them. Am I getting attacked? Oh, it's I'm getting boomed again. Okay. I was gonna say, what the hell? Let's mute the game kind of maybe, so. There you go. So don't have this noise going on here. There you go. Okie dokie. So that's just for where we're coming from. So we do this step by step. I don't want to like throw everything in there and then go over this afterwards. We have long time S tier occupant druids. Of course, incredibly strong healing, a lot of raw healing, a lot of burst healing, a lot of big numbers, which I find to be a little bit it sounds very weird. It's a little bit tricky in like beginner groups, because you just get a huge number, a whole bunch of nothing, a huge number. Region is like running aside, that's kind of cute, but I've talked to people that got it raids and were like, just going like constant up and down on my health bar is like scaring the shit out of me, because sustain heal is like better in other builds. Also, you don't have barrier on druid, and just like all the green numbers, and there's some ages, sure, but right, it's not really barriering. But the healing is insane. We also have the CA, of course, which is even more ridiculous. It has range healing, it has close-up healing, there are water fields you can blast. We have the mace now as an addition with a healing modifier, which is really neat. It basically raises the healing floor and ceiling. It just shifts everything up. It's 25%, which is really nice. It's on the mace, and it just happens on the side. There is a, I want to say, a skill component to this, because if you just attack and use abilities and just spam stuff, you would constantly get this buff, but it also has a cooldown, so you can determine when you actually want to quote unquote activate this and get your use out of this, and you can of course put this together, get your buff, your healing modifier, go into CA and blast even more. So the healing is absolutely impressive. The next one is now actually Heal Chrono. After what we have observed, the sustain healing on Heal Chrono is completely bonkers. A lot of things heal, and it's just happening naturally while you do your thing. Your clones are healing, your clone attacks are healing, your shatters are healing, and you're shattering like all the time. Your clone generation is really good, especially when you play Scepter. Your mantras are healing, quite powerful, somewhat bursty. Your wells are healing. You also always have, I would say, at least one well for ranged healing. There's healing on your rifle, there's barrier on your rifle, well, barrier will come back, right? But just have all of this, and then there will be more in the damage mitigation bit. The only thing where it's a little bit weaker is the range healing, unfortunately, because you have range shield on your rifle and your wells, but things are delayed there. That's a little bit. When we said earlier, Chronos are a bit slow in what they do, that's basically what it means. So a lot of things are delayed on Chrono, which makes it a very skill-based thing. In theory, you could just spam this stuff, and because of the sheer amount at the moment, it will probably just work. This might change though when the weapons come out in the future. But wells take boons, and they heal at the very end. So you have to, if you want to heal, have like a targeted heal with a well, you have to place it before things happen, right? Before you need to heal. So there's a skill component to this. You need to know when you have to do these things. Mantras have a long cast bar you have to go through to get to the heal, and then you have to burn your charges to get back to the cast bar again to get the heal again. So you have to account for that while you play your character. And only really your clones, your shatter list happens like naturally. You have perma region, easy peasy. But at the moment, it all adds up to a ridiculous amount of sustain healing. Yeah, again, range somewhat limited, but everything around you will live currently through pretty much everything you encounter. Next one we have the firebrands, because well, it's Guardian. So we have, it's basically the king of doing things at range. Bow of Truth is ridiculous. It is a super giant, super bursty, super ranged healing field. It's on an ammunition system. It has a fairly short cooldown. You throw this everywhere. You have staff, range healing. You have powerful water fields in your tome. You have easy region access. You have healing modifiers all over the place. So druids have 25% on mace now. Guardians have 25% on a trait. They can play with Force of Will. Depending on the gear you play, that's like another 20%. They have a healing modifier in Tome 3, which is 33%. They can just giga juice their healing. And if you do this correctly and well, in a way that makes sense with all your bursting abilities, it is ridiculous how much green numbers you can blast with this. The sustain healing, I'll be honest, is a little bit lower at Chrono. We compared this, well, I compared this on, I spent a lot of time on Wednesday testing that. Actually lower than a Chrono. Burst healing, way more impressive on Firebrand though. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like a region where it doesn't really matter anymore like that much. The only thing I have to say is doing things away from you more comfortable on Fireman. Nonetheless, both excellent healers. Also, it's like, yeah. Next we have impressive healers is let's see, Herald. Of course, Herald, super strong region access. We have now the shield buffed, already buffed with healing on shield 4 and 5. It's pulsing. Again, region is powerful. Already due to a trait, you can, and most heralds, I believe, now just run Relic of Dwayna anyway. So you have another 20% there. Ventari is incredibly powerful if you choose to play that. There's really huge burst healing there, and the only problem is Herald kind of, in a weird way, has a lockout mechanic built in. So healing, your burst healing, depending on where you're at, is not always accessible. It is ranged because you can just send your set tablet and it's fine, and you just like blast healing over there. But you're also supposed to give quickness. Sometimes you have to do stability, right? And it's very hard to balance and then also blast huge green numbers. Sometimes situations will allow this, and if you can do that, it is amazing. But that's more like a design issue there. Let's just say healing accessibility. Sustain heal generally fine, but you have to manage your energy really well to get the most of there. Oh yeah, also healing on staff, right? Just naturally. It's not a thing that people consider as a healing weapon. I see a lot of heralds just camping currently mace and shield, giving a region and then going to Ventari. And a lot of people forget that there is actually healing and condition cleansing on the staff, which is a little bit weird. And they only really ever use staff 5 for the big CC bar, which is just a little bit of wasted potential, I guess. Let's see. So we have next, we have a very weird one. We only talk about raw healing. Scrapper healing. Scrappers are not the best when it comes to providing boons. Just that. Or even barrier. But scrapper healing is ridiculous. Are you still testing, Simon? Scrapper is ridiculous. So it's basically the counterpart to heal mech. Heal mechs are good with barrier and boons. And the trade-off for that was the healing they had when they used to be scrappers. Scrappers have just more healing abilities access due to the tool belt. They didn't give this up, they didn't trade this in for the golem. So there's a lot of healing on the tool belt. Very short cooldown, it's all shared healing due to the trade directions. They blast really hard. Yeah, it's quite impressive, right? That's the trade-off they had for the mech. The problem there is also it's all around yourself. It's very little range healing, a little bit with the elixir gun, with the mortar kit. They also have access to, well, that's the damage mitigation again, but Frost Aura, we'll get to this again in a moment. Right, somewhat limited and ranged, I guess, I would argue, compared to the other ones. But when you're in there, you're blasting healing, it's amazing. Let's see, so we had, I have to say, warrior healing. Well, I just tried here Berserker. I think for the Blade Sword that might be, we just do warrior now as a whole, with the staff, because they all play staff now. I would have to put them to Scrapper as well. For basically the same reasons. The healing is really good now. The shouts, you don't have to spam them, but you can them. They're set bursty. The staff healing is really nice, and the problem with it is the same that you have on Scrapper. It's like all melee, it's all around yourself, but it is super comfortable. You can just get in there, press any buttons, and just outfill most of the attacks mechanics you have to deal with. It is super comfortable. It's very easy to produce as well. There's not very huge skill component to this. Yeah. It's good stuff. Oh yeah, we'll also categorize the ones we haven't done the research on separately, so you know, like, which ones are the ones where the numbers are not in yet. I'll give you a clue, it's here untamed. But yeah. Next one we have, let me see, let me actually put the ones on the bottom that are not placed yet. So we have we're gonna have Catalyst, we have Tempest. Actually we can put, Tempest in here as well. We'll get to this in a second. Mech has to be placed. We can do Spectre. And am I missing something? Oh, Scourge, yes. And everything else kind of more like a meme kind of thing, or it's more under the umbrella of Warrior Heal, I guess. Tempest, yeah, it used to be way better with the Shout Heal, still really good. When it comes to just healing, problem is you have to camp water. Well, they already had to always camp water, unfortunately, to be like super effective with healing. But they have ranged healing abilities that are really nice, huge radius, huge range, very powerful. They have Warhorn abilities that are, I really like the water Warhorn abilities because they are not target capped. So you have, usually you have everything on 5 players. Water 4 and 5 and Warhorn has no target cap. So you can just blast this into at like 10 people, 20 people, whatever, it doesn't matter. It just moves through there, everyone gets the healing. The thing is you have to aim this, of course. There's a, let's say, skill component there, and people can, of course, run out of it. But it's just really nice 10-player healing, because it's range, water overload, really nice. Wash the pain away, it's good stuff. Super solid healing. But also, like Harold, in a weird way, has a lockout mechanic built in there. So if you want to give your might protection, you're not gonna heal as much. Yeah, all that. Let's see. So we have next would be, I think we can almost put everything else in beer. B. So I know that here when there used to be a meme build, we have revisited recently after the cooldown reductions, and we even fixed the might actually on the last stream with Sandman and some suggestions from chat. It's a Guardian, so like Firebrand, it's basically like Firebrand but everything less. So it doesn't have Tome 2, and that's actually one of the biggest ones. Yeah, and it had to give up the relic for might up time. And yeah, the setup is very different. Basically, you had to give up a lot of healing. The sustain healing is okay. The burst healing is still very impressive, though. It is also very ranged, right? To the star, both truth. You have Received the Light, is a cone-shaped healing for your team that's really powerful. You have your Empower, all the good stuff, basically. So it's a very moderate healing. It can handle almost everything. We actually managed to solo heal Vega on a Healbender quite comfortably. So it can handle stuff, right? It's good solid healing. Let's see. We have next we have Healmech. I would actually put Healmech above Willbender easily, actually. It basically, like I said, lost healing compared to Scrapper due to it has Bury Access now. We'll get to this in a bit, and it doesn't have the. It doesn't just not has the self-sustain that Scrappers have when it comes to these things. Yeah, it's still super comfortable to heal with this, with the Medkit, Elixir Gun, Mortar Kit. Region is there, right? It's yeah, it's just good. I was thinking about this earlier, how I would phrase this. When Healmech came out, I was almost considering Healmech to not even be like an actual heal. I don't know how you guys see this. It's, for me, it was more a booner, and it's amazing with barrier, but the healing is just way weaker when it compares to so many other builds, because again, right, the way it operates and how many traits it lost and all that, and the toolkit basically that changed. But yeah, it's fine, right? It does the trick. Yeah. Next we have since we talk healing with a Spectre, Heal Spectre is a weird build that almost nobody plays. I have to say the healing staining is quite respectable. I don't think it has burst healing in a weird way. I played it a bunch for Bonesker and some raids. Actually, I was doing Wing 6 challenge modes with Planix on Heal Spectre and stuff. the green numbers are nice. It's very spammy. It's out there, but I was missing my burst heal toolkit. You're just spamming shadow stabs, they all heal, it's solid, it keeps your team alive, but yeah, I don't know. It also has a problem with the shroud, the fact that it uses shroud to heal. Because you can just lose your shroud, but if you go into shroud at Veigar at the wrong time, it just goes away to the green and you're shit out of luck, you can't heal as much. And this is the same case for every other mechanic. If you get hit too much, it eats away your shroud, it eats away your healing abilities, and you're very limited in that regard. Yeah. That's that. And then we have to put... do we even rank heal catalyst? Actually, I'm not a big fan of heal catalyst because you have to play it like a DPS. It's stuck in a rotation, it's not reactive. Yeah, sure, let's just low, whatever, it's just the last, whatever. So Scourge healing is decent. It's just not what it does, that's the thing. So we have region on Scourge, but it's easy accessible, it just runs, it's region, it's kind of cute, it's there, it's fine. The only other really big heals, bigger-ish heals, is Transfusion on your 4, and you're healing well. If you choose to play with War, you have some lifesteal, and that's kind of neat. But yeah, it's Transfusion and the healing well. Both of them are more sustain heals, so your Transfusion is pulsing for 9 seconds, and it has a cooldown of 9 seconds. It's like 900-ish heals per second or something. So it's a little bit like it's like Herald Region, but it's like on Herald it's all region, and here it's an entire ability of 4. And if you care to spam this, you're basically giving up your pull. Yeah, we're talking about all the healing, right? We'll get to the barrier and stuff in a bit. Yeah. So yeah, it's just not what it does. That's what I'm saying, right? It's not what it does. It's not like it needs it. But if you boil it down to it, right, it's a sustain heal. It's also healing over time, and it's not like a blast of healing. Same is true for the well. It is an okay healing as a whole, but it's also pulsing over time, so the same principle there. It's not like you have an actual, here you have 8k of heals just raw in your face, live my friend, right? It's not gonna happen. It is not the build for that. But the sustain heal, if you care for it, is nice. You can also you overlap these two every once in a while. So they add up to a really comfortable sustain healing. So your Transfusion is around about half-ish the cooldown of your well. So it's heal and well, Transfusion, heal and well, right? You just cycle through this. And every second time you get a juicier version of that that just pulls on your team. Your well is ranged, which is nice, and your Transfusion is not. So again, some limitations to the range healing there. But yeah. I think we don't even care for the others. Again, not ranked. This would be here. Numbers not in yet. Just do this. Be healed and tamed. Yeah. That would be that. Soon. Let's do damage mitigation next. So actually we copy this here and do another like a tab. Boom. So that's that. Basically, the whole thing will look very different now for damage mitigation. So for damage mitigation, we include barrier, of course. Protection is, well, that's a little bit weird on barrier still, but barrier protection. Ages, right? All the things you can just give to people so they take less damage. I would also maybe consider vigor in a weird way there, because it enables people to just dodge more, which is also a very good damage mitigation. It is Boon, I know, but so So, well, now we just turn everything on the head. Heal Scourge is the king of the barrier. It is ridiculous. It is out of this world. It's almost too much. I think I don't have to argue with this. Also, we put Heal Mech up there. It's basically Heal Scourge but cuter. Everyone enjoys Barrier Burst, Barrier Signet, all the goodness. Let's see. Next we have actually Herald. Do I get it to A? Sure. Yeah. But if we're discussing AI, yeah. So Herald, really nice now with the Scepter. So first of all, we have Aegis access now on Herald on a fairly short cooldown. You have the damage reduction on the Jealous Elite, and due to the weapon, the new weapon and the weapon changes on the shield, it basically enables you to run less Ventari and access more Jealous, where you have your stability and your damage reduction on the Elite, which is really powerful if you can use and time that well. So that's big for damage reduction, and then you have the barrier on the Scepter. I'll be quite honest, it's a little bit weird because it is delayed barrier. There are some limitations to this. So basically you trigger your ability for the barrier at range, but you have to be in melee range to actually juice it up. That might not be that might not work all the time. But if you can pull it off, it's insane amounts of barrier right now. And it's also delayed, so there's like a little bit of a skill component to this, but I would just say you have this up so often. If you're stacking the boss in a regular raid fight, it is a lot of barrier. It's really good. The tankiest class, so a lot of people would say Heal Scourge because it can just like face tank literally everything, super comfortable. I'm also a big fan of chrono tanks. If you can tank really well on a chrono, I've seen chronos tank raid bosses and they have never taken a single hit because they just blocked everything. That's you have to be very skilled to pull that off, but everyone can tank really well on a Heal Scourge because they have so much barrier, and damage mitigation is ridiculous. You can just not give a shit about what the boss does unless it's like a yeah, not really actually. Like a lot of bosses, you're just standing there, just eating the tags, you're just blasting your barriers, giving your boons, and be good. On Chrono, again, I've seen excellent Chrono players have not taken a single hit at all in like a 500 boss fight. It was insane. Because they dodged and blocked so well. Let's see. So the things we have to place, we'll just do this in the bottom again. So this is Chrono. This has to go in here again. This has to go in again. Tempest, Scrapper, to the Windbender. Druid, of course. And we did the Warrior Healers again earlier, so we did them again. Yes, okay, so that's that. That's like all the ones with barrier. Oh yeah, actually heal. I want to. We put Spectre below this. It also has barrier access, actually, weirdly enough. But it's not a lot. So you basically, there's a trade where you go into your shot. When you leave your shot earlier, you give everyone health, and then you overheal into barrier. Basically, just give everyone barrier. This really depends on what I said earlier, right? How long do you stay in shot for? Do you heal all the way through? Because when your shot is low, you're not going to give as much barrier, or it's the other way around, right? It's not very reliable either, right? Because if you get hit too much, it just all goes away. It's not going to happen. So there is some inconsistency there. Let me just say that. But yeah. After the barrier, I want to put yeah, we have to put Firebrand, Chrono, and Willbender in there. it's going to be a lot in A, I can just tell you already, but for different reasons. I just want to go over them separately. So Firebrand, perma protection, Aegis spam. The Aegis access is ridiculous, especially if you can time it well. You have access to resolution. I actually didn't talk about resolution a whole bunch, but you can just like talk about this as well. There's resolution. You have projectile block. Oh yeah, we actually didn't talk about projectile block. So on Hemax and Scourges and Heralds, they have bubbles, but those are kind of cute and not permanent. They all have a certain duration. On Ventari, it is depending on your energy management. Do you have to heal on the time on the side? S tier mech heal. Oh, we're talking about so we're talking about damage mitigation only right now for the supports, basically. We talked about heal, we talked damage mitigation, then we talk about the boons and the utility, and then we smash them all together. So we do this step by step just for context, right? So we know where is everyone at. So the yeah, projectile blocks, right? Ventari, the tablet bubble runs out eventually. Depending on how much you have to do on the side, it will go down, and then the question is, can you wait and do it again? Or do you have to go back to Glint because you're also supposed to give boons, like other boons other than quickness. Right, so there are limitations to this. On Firebrand, you just don't have this whatsoever. You can just infinitely bubble, especially with electricity uptime. You can chain bubbles, you can place them all over the place, you can cover a huge area. You have reflex, you have blocks, you have projectile destruction. Again, the Aegis spam, you can give toughness to your subgroup in your tome 3 and just raise everyone's defenses and mitigate more damage there. You have a wide variety of tools there to just make everyone die less, right? Just take less damage. Chrono, I would say now actually somewhere in the same universe-ish. Huge Aegis access. You yourself have distortion, of course. You have Aegis spam. You have Aegis on your on your 4. You have an Aegis well. You have an Aegis mantra, and you have your feedback bubble, of course. Your focus with a trait can reflect things. You can manage projectiles quite well. You can continually split all of these things, so you get like double the value out of this. It is a lot. It is really good. So. Yeah, then we have let's see, where do we do this, or how do we do this? Let me think. I've actually put Wilburn in here next, weirdly enough, for almost the same reason as Firebrand. It doesn't do the projectile blocks as well, but you have perma protection, you have perma resolution, which is quite rare. So it's basically protection but for conditions. It's not gonna see use in like all places, but it's really cool to have that. You still have Aegis access. You yourself are completely immortal. It's ridiculous with your F3. You just like spam Aegis on yourself. It's completely bonkers. You could play Maze actually quite comfortable now. And yeah, actually we put Druid before this because I understand that resolution is not like the big one. Druid is mostly protection, Aegis here and there. You have some projectile management there as well. I feel like it's more reliable in a weird way. On Wilburn, things have to happen way too fast. It's yeah, it's more like a what's the word? It's very I don't know. Yeah. Tempest. Yeah, protection, Aegis. Really nice. And then the next big thing, actually we have to put this below, but rebound is big. So you can of course make your team survive, rebounding them. Yeah, everyone's familiar with the severe shockwaves. Rebound the thing, make everyone not die for once, keep blasting. It's good stuff. Fairly short cooldown, but that's kind of like really it. There's no many blocks. There's a reflect. I mean, you can give your team magnetic auras, so they reflect things and can defend themselves for projectiles. But it's not really. That is what it is, right? And it has to heal a bunch basically there to make up for that. Scrapper goes to Spectre, because we just talked about this, how Scrapper had to give up healing. Well, actually, they have the healing, right? And they gave it up to become mechs, where they have the barrier access. And on Scrapper, it's just not that. You have your protection, of course. You have your bulwark gyro, is kind of neat, and your little bubble that comes with it. But all in all, it's really not that impressive when it comes to actually mitigating damage on the team. And I want to put Warrior there as well. There was like a little bit of barrier, but it's really it. And then again, it's like all around yourself. Yeah. It's basically like all the exceptional barrier givers, right? Then it's like everyone else with like either a crap load of ages, or barrier and some ages, or at the end here, like more like, I'm doing protection, I have like one cool gimmicky thing, it's not as impressive as the other ones, but it's still okay and does the job. I think that's what it comes down to. Yeah. So if you want to like ask me about the other ones at the bottom, ask me, but I think this is not really something someone plays as a healer much, so yeah. So it would be damage mitigation. So we do we'll keep them all. It opens just more tabs here. So let's talk about boons. Let's see who has all the boons, and ideally all the time, right? Yeah, let's see. First of all, let's get the our suspects in here again that we're gonna place. Oh, oops. This Humac, Discourages, Scrappers. The third one. Oh yeah, the Warriors again. Boom. Yeah. Kind of like this. Okay, so the big ones are oh, we have to get rid of S plus again because that's bullshit. Yeah, Firebrand is pretty much all, I think like all the boons except Alacrity, which is just bonkers. It's not all of them all the time, but it's like always accessible due to tomes. Everything's on rather short cooldowns in them. It's super reactive. It has the whole variety, and also all of them while doing things. So you can do your bubbles, give your might, give your quickness, give swiftness. You can just blast all your boons while you handle mechanics. We see this will be a problem with some of the other ones. Like they're all accessible all the time while you're handling things all over this. You can healing, bubbling, booning, making the boss look the other way, etc, etc. It's just super accessible. It's all the boons. Very close to that, basically here mech. Also a huge variety of boons, super accessible as well. A lot of things are on the golem. You can send your golem separately other places and give boons somewhere else. And yeah, it's just there, right? It's the toolkit across the board. I think I don't know, they have to explain this. Next we have Chrono, now new on the scene. Incredible boon access as well, also very easy boon access. You have, if you wanted to, you could play even with boon extension of the Signal of Inspiration. You have to give up some healing in favor of the boon access, providing upkeep, etc. it's excellent. It doesn't have all the boons all the time available. So for resistance, for example, you have to also trade into that. And there are some trade-offs you have to do to like access more of the other boons. But I mean, it's not like you need resistance like all the time, like permanently, right? So, but the core, in its core, it's an excellent boon trumpeter. Is insane. The giveaway is, by the way, still open, but you can still enter by being wholesome to someone. You can give someone a compliment, me or someone in chat. Just get in there. We're giving away a heroic edition key today, and then the next one on Monday. Yeah, that's that. Next we have, let me see. Let me think, where do we put these? Though we have to go into A now. We have to, it's so weird to put Wilbanner here, but we've been there on Thursday. Like Sandman was there. Oh yeah, how much were you surprised actually, Sandman, when we did Wilbanner on the Golem with the boons? Hello Mimi, how are you doing? Beautiful. Ooh. Thank you very much. I just take this as a compliment for myself now. Actually, why do I put? It's the thing is, Wilburn is Guardian, right? So it has like Firebrand, it's like all the same things but slightly less. The boon accessibility is better on Wilburner easily. Because you have it all already at the same time. So you have, just to like recap this, some people might not be aware, but you have 25 stacks might, easy, perma swiftness, perma region, perma protection, perma fury, perma resolution. You spam ages in your team all the time. You have you spam stability even actually on your team. You have vigor uptime. It's basically all in there. It is not very easy to play, I'll be honest, but it's all the boons that you ever wanted, with like 2 exceptions. You could even give a little teeny tiny bit of quickness on the side, next to alacrity. So even that is like kind of neat if you want to throw in like a scuffed quick DPS on the side. Hey Grimoire, how are you doing? So Herald, excellent boon provider as well. The thing is, on Herald as well, your boons are on Glint and not so much somewhere else. You have some stability on the tablet, but it's some bullshit because it's the elite and it only works after you're summoning your tablet. And if you, as soon as you pressed, we're on the Boon Support now, so we're talking about healing and damage mitigation. We're talking about just boon access right now. Then we're talking about utility after, and then we smush this all together. So this is not the end, right? But yeah, the fact that you have your boons on Glint and not so much on the other legends that you also have to go to every once in a while is a little bit of a problem. So depending on how much you have to bubble, your boons will suffer. Or if you have to camp stability on the road, right? All that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, Tempest has to get in as well. Yeah, sorry. So there is a problem there, right? For the same reason it has like a healer lockout mechanic in a certain way, that also accounts, of course, on the boons on the other side. And it will not be a problem very often, right? But it is a thing. But across the board, all the important boons, super quick boons, very little boon duration, as boon extension is excellent, right? That helps your team out a big time. This good stuff has ages now as well. That was not a thing before. Yeah, it's good stuff. Let's see. Next we have I think we'll do Druid next actually. Druid, all the important boons. the thing with the druid is your alacrity is a little bit of a problem when you play this in. Oh yeah, this is not for speedrunning or something, this is for regular packs. So usually you play healers in a 2 healer setup, which is a little bit of a problem for druids because you have to generate CA to get access to your alacrity in CA, and alacrity is an important boon, right? A lot of people really want this so they can run their DPS rotations well. And you've seen so many druids in a 2 healer setup that have really issues generating CA, getting back into CA, doing the healing, providing the alacrity. It can be tricky, and it's really depending a lot on your second healer. So if you run a druid heal scourge combo, you have a really big problem as the druid, because your scourge will just overcamp the barrier constantly and you don't get to heal much, right? It's a really big problem. Same, I would argue, almost if you want to play with a heal farm or like double druid, doesn't make any sense, right? If you play currently heal scourge, heal fireband, heal chrono, and a druid, your druid will be very sad and your alacrity might suffer. That's a problem. But other than that, boons are super fine. You can do boons at range, which is really nice. You can throw your spirits at people if you wanted to, right? You can play tank in some position and do boons somewhere else, at least a bunch of them. It is really nice. Let's see, we have sure, let's do Tempest as well. I know what is going to be like super shit in here, right? Just quickly. Tempest, really, yeah, solid support, boon support, all the boons that you would ask for. The alacrity, I still not big a fan of the overload, especially when you get interrupted while overloading. You also have to, if you want to play this really well, you have to extend your own boons in your Warhorn. So you apply yourself alacrity and then go into Warhorn 4 on Fire and Earth, I think it was. So you have to like extend your own boons in a weird way. It's just like weird. Nobody else has to really do that. But at the end of the day, if you play this well, it's gonna do fine, as all the boons covers a huge variety. Surprised by boons for not Herald on Willbender, on the Heelbender. Hey Archneem, how you doing? Into S-tier Booner you can overcap position for your allies. Sure, I guess, yeah. I guess, yeah, if you want to like play this in terms of like utility to like even help out the other boon supports basically, and like everyone else in your subgroup is also doing like a boon next to you, sure. Yeah, almost, yeah, exactly right. It's the Willbender boon access is ridiculous. Next we have Spectre, actually, because Spectre is an excellent booner. Actually, I was not expecting this when I tried this for the first time maybe a few months ago. But your boons are, they like through the roof. It's like almost no boon that you can't give on this. The only problem there is it's also depending on the shroud, of course. You give a lot of boons there. But I would recommend, if you have not played Heal Spectre before, play Heal Spectre somewhere, easy encounter, go to Shroud, blast, and watch your boon bar explode. It is ridiculous. But yeah. Yeah, it's only really like depending on the Shroud thing, right? Like the healing I mentioned earlier. But yeah. Oh yeah, the only thing, maybe I should put those down like high B. The thing is, you cannot really apply this stuff in a targeted way. So you will just play your character, you be a Shroud, you do healing, it's all fine, and things will just happen on the side. But I think it's never like, I need Aegis now, or like I need a certain boon now, and then you have a button for that. You just blast, boons will pop out of you, and it's just there, but it's also kind of all over the place in a weird way. It doesn't make any sense. So it's not very tight, it's not very aimed in a weird way. Right, and sometimes you want to be reactive and give certain boons at certain times, especially like Aegis stability, right? You don't need this all the time, But if you need, you want to be ready, so you can press the button and off you go. So let's see. Let's actually do Scourge. I think Scourge is a really good booner. It doesn't have like all the niche ones, but hello Trapped, welcome in. It doesn't have like all niche ones. It can give perma swiftness now with a relic, which is really nice. It's not like a needed relic slot for anything else. It can do range boons, which is not very common. So you can just give a bunch of boons away. The range alacrity is really nice. You have range region. And let me think. You have range. What's the Christian Lens thing? Your ages. You can also throw this people, right? Where Firebrand, for example, has ages around himself. Scourges, for example, is a class that can give, like Chrono as well, can give ages somewhere else, and throw this at people, which is really neat. Yeah, it's like all the important boons. It's not like resistance not gonna happen, right? Resolution maybe not as much, but yeah. On the boons, super reliability, ramp up on might is basically non-existent. You just have like instant 25 might, and just keep blasting away. It's good stuff. You also don't ever trade anything off for boons because it's just all the buttons you run anyway. The stability, I would say, is there. It's more skill based. The snail trail, as we call it. I personally like it because it doesn't have, like the Road and Herald, it doesn't have a target cap, so it's actually 10 player stability. If you wanted to play stability, just to advise, if you want to give on your team that's stacking, make a little puddle and make the team stand on it. On fights like Kinetic Challenge mode, if you want to give stability there, make sure you run ahead of your team and run a little zigzag. You make the road wider so your team can actually touch this, and it becomes a very reliable stability source then as well, if you play this properly. But it's, again, stay player stability, it's good stuff. It's also quite rare these days, right? It's just the road and this. Also an E to select them. No, I'm just like, this is not placed right now. Let's see. Scrapper boons are a little bit sad, I'm not gonna lie. It has like all the base stuff. Might will be fixed, it will be better actually. It might have actually gotten a little bit better. I have to do a little bit more testing there. The thing is, you can give 25 might on a scrapper. You could already before, but it's an absolute pain in the ass because you have to run with, you have to work with fire fields and blast finishes, and a lot of blast finishes on one fire field, and it's the whole thing. And you have to basically run a rotation just to make might work, and it's not a good time. So yeah, might, big problem. You have to always throw in something else, and it's a quick DPS, and it's not like a lot of might. I like DPSs give like a buttload of might, so it's like not much that you can pair this up with. Right, it's like all the base boons. It's range stability as well. That's kind of nice. Some like range healing, but like yeah. So like regen swiftness, like a few things are range there. You can just like give to people somewhere else. But yeah, it's not like really the best booner. The warrior, let's put warrior B right now. It has all the boons basically that you wanted. A big problem, at least on here Berserker right now, is protection, which is one of the ones you want, as especially healer, right? You want to give reliable protection. So the problem on warrior that we found out is you give every 10 seconds get 8 seconds of prot, just due to a trait, basically, naturally. But then your second source of prot is stuff free. And the problem with stuff free is it only works if you use this on an ally. And the problem with that is really shitty and very impractical. So you're basically forced to play the single target, the ally targeting, just for your prot up time. And it also, on top of that, makes you move to your ally. So depending on where you are, like you can't do that just because someone else. Well, first of all, you have to figure out your target. Then you have to pick someone that's not currently doing a mechanic and is about to move out of the group. You have to pick someone that's not currently dying to some whatever, right? So this will take time to like figure this out properly. That's one thing. You cannot go to any member of your group, oftentimes. And then you're moving as well, so it's a movement skill on top of that. And you're forced to play this like every, what is this, like 20 seconds or something. It's just, that's not cool, like at all. They have to change this. But across the board, like otherwise it's fine, right? It does the trick. It's all the boons around you. You have your banners. You can throw at people. It's neat as age stability, all the goodiness. But the problem and the playstyle is really not cool. Yeah. But that's so far for the damage for the boon access. All the usual suspects in the top, I guess. For the variety and accessibility, that is, right? Just want to make this clear. Next, utility. Who can do what? How often? How frequently? Right? Who has all the fancy toolkit thingies? All the toys. So let's see. Do all the things again. So also, what even counts for utility? Or like what even do I count as utility? So 1 second. The scrubber again. Druid, of course. Did I forget one? I think that's it, right? Yeah. Okay, so who can do cool stuff? Yeah, we have the I just put the my opinion, the top 3 up there. That's like not even a particular order, I want to say. They are, I want to say, like easily the kings of handling stuff right now. Firebrand is Firebrand. It's like a no-brainer. It can do all the things and can do like literally all the things at the same time. It is insane. As all the bubbles, you can do. Oh, let's just go through the list. So Firebrands, you have a pull to you. You have the second best pull in the game on your F1. You can pull things away from you, which is quite rare. You also have this on the focus on Mesmers. So a pull to you and a pull away from you is very different things. Usually you have to run around the team and pull. If you don't have a knockback, that might be important. But yeah, you have pulls, you have knockbacks, you have immobilizers, you have all the bubbles you mentioned earlier, so projectile blocks. You have reflect, which is very important because sometimes you're supposed to reflect and sometimes you're supposed to not to reflect, but you have to deal with projectiles either way, right? You have basically both covered. You have also you have like 4 bubbles in Fireband. You can just chain forever and bubble until the universe implodes or something. It's ridiculous. So we have huge condition cleanse, of course. Fireband, you have oh god, jeez guys. With that, we have taunting abilities, so you can take the aggro on you basically. Even if it's just briefly. You have condition conversion, which is also something else than cleansing, of course. Cleansing gets rid of conditions. Conversions makes conditions boons again, which is really nice. And yeah, and it can just do basically all of this. Did I do a mobilizer set already, right? Yes. It can do like all of these things pretty much at the same time while doing the boons and while doing the healing. Yeah, Chrono, very close to that, basically. We talked about this earlier already. It does all the Firebrand things, but a little less of it. And also not everything accessible all the time because you have to trade into things. There are certain trade-offs connected to this that you don't have with Firebrand. But the toolkit is basically the same, and it gets the job done. You have your free reflex. You only have reflex, actually, not blocks, which is a little bit of a problem on bosses like Karen, for example, where blocks help. But like, it's not a problem on like Adina's, Matthias, or all the ones. So you just like keep things away. Sabir, same thing. Let's see, you have portals, which is really nice for some mechanics. You can portal your team around, which is a thing like nobody else really has except the thieves. You have invisibility, which is really big for fights like HTCM. It's an outlier, of course, right? But like mass invis, good stuff. You have it's a lot basically. And it can pretty much handle like everything put in there. Druid is very different in a way. It has excellent utility, but very different one. So Druids are, of course, very good when it comes to just generally ad management. So you have the Seekers on Bay Guardian, or you get your Entangle, Immobilize basically everything that comes at you and is not supposed to move. The same is the case for Demos Prides. You just immobilize them there. The knockbacks you use for the golems, the Solar Sorrow. If it's a piercing knockback, just get the ad away from you. Or on Zamarok, the push there, right? All these kinds of things. You have to either keep things in position or just get it off the group, so people can deal with it somewhere else. Excellent works with that. You have ridiculous condition cleansing there as well. You have some projectile management on your staff, and yeah, you can revive people as well, like Glyph of the Stars, all that kind of stuff. Such a rescue if you want to play that. Excellent stuff. So big carry potential there with this kinds of utility. If I forget something, let me know. Also, doesn't really have a pull, I believe. More knockback and immobilizing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. Let's see. So we have let's do actually, we put Herald first. Herald. Oh yeah, we didn't even mention CC, right? Like Druid would be the king easily when it comes to breakbar damage. Like this would be the order probably when it comes to breakbar damage. Druid easily the top candidate there. Chrono also ridiculous, especially with continuous split, and then Fireband is Sanctuary, the many pulls, knockbacks, taunts, all that, right? Then we have Herald, also knockback. You have super speed access, which is really nice. That's not a thing you see like all over the place. You can make everyone even speedier. You have your let's see, you also have a taunt there for like aggro management, all that kind of stuff. You have your Ventari bubble, which is really nice. It is a very unique thing because you can move it while you keep it up, which is really cool. You can move, use it on a moving team. That is not a thing on Fireband, even though they can bubble for way longer. It's static bubbles, they are not moving whatsoever, so you have to place them all over the place. And at some point you might run out of them. On Herald, you just move your tablet and you have your bubble, and it's fine. So that's definitely a benefit there. You have a knockback there on your Glint Elite, of course. You could play, let's see, you have your agency, you have a block in general, basically, where you can stand on people. Yeah. The Conduit is the hardest nah, I don't know about that. Conduit also seems pretty chill and easy. What else do we have utility wise? We have we have cleansing on Ventari, of course. We have cleansing on the staff. We have the Boon extension. We talked about on the boons, but it's just really nice either way, right? It's not like a thing everyone has as a tool to support your boons, your team. You also have let's see. If you play other legends on dwarf, you have damage reduction. Well, I guess Chiron's, that's more like a DPS support kind of thing, but yeah. But yeah, I like that a lot, I have to say. Heal mech, also bubble. The heal mech bubble thing is more cute than everything else because it's barrier signet. It's on the golem, so it's scuffed. The golem has the bubble, it's 8 seconds, and when he moves, for whatever reason, the bubble situation is shit. So you have to rely on him there a little bit. You can actually work around this if you know what you're doing, because you can use your barrier burst, your F3 on your golem, so he spins around and blast boons, and then you do barrier signet, and then you have the bubble in position until he's done with the animation before he starts doing weird stuff again. So you can work around this a little bit, that's fine. You have Giga condition cleansing on Engis. You have, if you trade into this boon conversion there as well, similar to Fireband, which is really strong on Condi fights like Anka, CM, or even if you do the title run, it's excellent stuff there. So the cleansing is ridiculously strong. You have Boon Rip if you want to play with that. Get rid of stuff there. You have knockbacks. You could immobilizers as well. The net is a weird one, but network is an option, right? If nobody else for whatever reason can't do like immobilizers, right? You could do that. I know it's weird, but yeah. You also have access to Frost Aura, which is, I guess, mitigation in a weird way, but sure. And then like niche things like the rocket beats for the skip and just cast, like sort of thing, like convenient thing in raids, I guess. And yeah, that's really nice. Next we do Scrapper, I guess. Scrapper has a tool belt, which the mech doesn't have. And it's fully customizable, so depending on your utility skills, you get different things. It also has the, so you have your self-heal, you have condition cleanses, you have ranged dazes, also more CC basically. You have a ranged bubble for projectile blocks. You have your function gyro, you can make yourself invulnerable to block certain attacks altogether. For example, the mech has this as well, I guess. The shakes on Slothazor, for example, and other things. Then, yeah, that was the block. You also have a knockback there. You have Giga CC. You have your supply crate, which has additional turrets, and there's a healing turret, net turret, etc. For the mobilizers that we just mentioned. Like, it's a whole bunch of stuff, like a host of varieties you can do there just with the tool build alone. It is, of course, a trade-off, but the options are insane. Hello, Noxus, how are you doing again? Welcome back. So, you just entered the giveaway. Oh yeah, the giveaway is still going. We have the Heroic Edition code is going away. We're talking about the utility of all these supports. We're almost done. Now we're going to do the final list of everything all together, basically. Yeah, but tool build, insane, right? Function gyro, big carry potential there. It's good stuff. It's excellent. Let's see. Next we do Scourge, I guess. This is a... It is so... It feels almost bad to put things in B. I guess it's B. It's basically everything next to the healing and the barrier, basically. Like what is left over, because we talked about this already, and the boons. So we have... let me think. Sure, let's do high B. So everything besides healing and barrier and boons, Scourges have excellent pulls, so Spectral Grasp, good stuff. AoE pull, it's chill, it's a CC, you have a generally very good CC. The only problem is you have to work with Fear, which is a slow form of CC. So it is the hardest CC, but if you fear and you fear more and you fear more, you will increase the fear duration, but not the intensity. that was a big problem when we did. So we did QTP solo heal, tanking, and CC of all the ads on the fires as a heal scourge. This was incredibly difficult because I had to work with the Golem Dash, Fear, Torchfire. It was a mess. It worked, but it was really difficult because, again, Fear operates the way it works. So in terms of breakpoint damage, it's fairly slow, with the exception of the Golem Dash and Torch 5, I guess. Let's see, we have this, we have Boon Ribs. The Boon Ribs is exceptional. It is out of this world. But unfortunately, not a lot of bosses have like all the boons all the time you've got of. So this is more like a here and there kind of thing. But also like Chronos have Boon Rib. Like I Boon Rib with Artio all the time on Fireband. Here Max have Boon Rib. Yeah. Let's see. We have the Send Portal, of course, if you care to do that. Well, actually, maybe we put it in A then. Right, the Send Portal is kind of nice on the river. You can do like an improvised pylon gaming, I guess, in a way. Yeah. What's going on, Sue? The Booner, what else we have? Yeah. What's going on? And condition lens, I forgot to mention, but it's like, yeah. Your F2 is good. Very good. And yeah. I'm confused from Sui being confused. Not quite sure. So I have to Willbender in it is now, well, it's not so good anymore when it comes to like the basic stuff. There's a knockback, you have some projectile management. Yeah, so you have your shield 5 still. You don't have a pole anymore but an immobilized because you play Scepter, so that's nice. You can still bring Sanctuary and you do Giga CC. Actually, it's ridiculous CC on Willbender. But the problem is, because it's not Fireband and it doesn't have all the books, you actually need to provide boons and utility skills, which of course takes away the option to actually provide other cool things, like again Sanctuary, Wall of Reflection, etc, etc. So you're very limited there, unfortunately. It's either like one of the many things basically, but it's not like all of it or multiple ones. Right. Tempest is an ally. Also Warrior, oh yeah, I think we put them in C, both of them. So the problem with Warrior was, we've seen this on the first day stream. It does like all the things it's supposed to be as a healer, but at the end of the day it's a warrior. So also the fact that you had to run banners and shouts, it left no wiggle room for really anything else anymore, when it comes to like special. It might be different on Bladesworn. We didn't Bladesworn. It might be actually a little bit better, but for here Berserker, it's just like a very basic healer that gets the job and lets everyone else take care of stuff at the end of the day. And I feel about the same about 10% the same way there. You have your shouts, you have your boons, right? But we talked about this already. But the extra thing, right? What else do you do to like take over mechanic, negate the boss thingy, right? It just doesn't have the options there. The core toolkit is just not well enough equipped for this. It is just what it is. Yeah. Hey Flippo, how are you doing? So that's the utility side. Did I forget one? Those are like the big ones, right? Or not even like Willbender is just in there because we've managed to fix it on first day, basically. Amazing music taste. Oh, thank you very much. You were doing all classic rock and stuff. I like that you like it. So this is the utility list. Yeah, we're doing support. So we, I can show you. This was only healing, just like raw healing, just green numbers. This is damage mitigation, so barrier protection, dealing with projectiles that do damage, all that kind of stuff, right? Or just like flat up damage reduction on the team. This was boon access. Who can do what boons, how many, how reliable, how accessible, all that kind of stuff. This was the utility, so who can do all the fancy stuff next to all the other things, right? Who has like the extra gimmicks to make fights easier. Yeah, again, we want to separate this, and now we do the final one where we just smush this all together. Yeah, basically. Not per role, for example. No, this is just the defensive support. So all the healers that make you live through stuff. Yeah. So, one second, I have to bind. That's a lot of mentions. Jesus Christ. We still have the giveaway going. You actually, if you use the heart, you kind of get in automatically. Actually, that's one easy way to cheat the system here. So if you want more context for this, by the way, or actually even numbers, I can give you them as well. I'm going over this like slightly general. So if you want like numbers for the healers, like a ballpark number, it is incredibly difficult to pin this stuff down on numbers because a million factors play into this. But if you want like a ballpark number, to get an idea, I can actually give you that because we did so much testing throughout the last few months and years. Yeah. Several of streamers I've come to have really been supportive, all helping out each other. Being a listener was really easy because the community is amazing, kind, is also wholesome. That feels like a fantasy dream to. From time to time, I love it all. Yeah, same. I'm so glad I'm friends with so many other Guild Wars 2 streamers. And we did like co-streams together. I get invited to events. I remember Willow did like a fashion contest, and I was judged on there. And we did like Among Us raids with a bunch of streamers together. That was really cool. And I think the number. I think there are like a dozen Guild Wars 2 streamers that are streaming right now that have gotten into raids with me. They came to me when I was doing my raid trainings. They learned like the basics of like a wing or two. Some of them stuck around for more. Some of them moved on and like kept going the training somewhere else. But we like set them up and made them hungry for more, right? And like there was a lot of cooperation there, and yeah, it's awesome. I remember a few years ago, this guy in this. Wait, did this not get you in there actually? 1 second. Oh, you might be in already. 1 second. Let me check. Oh yeah, you're in. Yeah, so good. So, a few days back, this guy in Divinity was asking for money to sell a Scarlet Rainbow or sell it on the TP due to not having more than 1 gold. I had 14 gold on me. This was crafting. Send it off to him. Hopefully. He would send me my 14 gold back. He sold Skulls on TP for 250. He sent me 100. Wow, that is awesome. So raid view was amazing. That my first raid series view was on. Yeah, we do more soon. So okay, let's do the like all smushed together now, basically. I wanted to do the different ones first because if you just throw everything in one table, it's very easy to skip things there and just forget about different aspects, right? That's why I like to split this up a little bit, take my time with it, get into like all the details, so everyone is aware of all the benefits of these builds in different, like in these different areas, basically, right? So, okay, so the ones. Oh, what the hell is this loading here still? Interesting. Again, I cannot stress this enough. This is not for speedrunning because the list would actually, or like very organized static play, the list would look differently there. In your everyday raid experience, when you go into LFG and you raid with people and you maybe know like 1 or 2 in a team, but not really anyone else, you never really know who's joining in there, how experienced are they, is this going to be smooth or is this going to be a wild ride? So just generally saying, if you are playing something that I would say qualifies as a problem solver in a way and is like very versatile, you're going to be high up on the list, right? That's what it is, right? You want to take care of stuff, you want to help the team, you make the fight comfortable, and prevent problems of any kind. That's what it is. So builds that are really well equipped for this, considering all of the things we had before now. So we have to put up there these three. I thought about this long and hard. But yeah, druids are just very good when it comes to carrying the healing output is ridiculous. You out-heal pretty much every mechanic that has ever existed in this game if you play this correctly. Like I said, it is good with ad management. If ad management is missing, you will notice. So example, Vey Guardian, people will just stand in Seekers, right? And you have someone keeping this away, knocking them back or keeping them in position, people will live. Same for Gorzaval, Soulless Horror, QTP, you name it, right? Everything, every fight where there's like a little extra somewhere that has to be taken care of, you kind of really want to druid in a way. You have Glyph of the Stars, it's Giga Res, it's Giga Healing. Yeah, it's amazing. The Condition Cleanse is helping so much people, especially when people just constantly stand in things. It is incredibly impactful, especially when you can play druid well. The Chrono and Firebrand is up there as well, because I would consider them both they are just blasting in terms of boons, healing, and utility. We said this earlier. The Chrono is I would actually put them slightly higher now because they are a little bit easier to play. The Sustain healing is actually higher than a Firebrand. The Burst healing, only if you Continuum Split correctly. You can actually even out-heal the burst healing of a Firebrand. If you use your Continuum Split for a utility or your boons, especially at the start of the fight, the Firebrand will eat you for breakfast, right? It's not gonna happen. But if you actually get all your burst healing into the Continuum Split and you blast it twice, it's wild. So there is this component to this, but at the end of the day, the sustain healing is ridiculous in Chrono. Do all the fancy things, like I said, utilities take care of all the boons except the niche ones you have to trade in there. You can do boon extension to help your struggling boon providers, the other ones. And you are quite good with doing things away from you as well. So when your team is all over the place, someone's the mechanic, you still have the tools on your hands to help people elsewhere. You can deal with mechanics, you can do key mechanics, fires, you do reflex, you can do bubbles, etc, etc. So you can actually take care of things, right? Focus pull, amazing, same thing there. Yeah, Firebrand is the multitasking talent. Like I said earlier, just do literally everything at the same time. You can be everywhere at the same time as well in a weird way. Your healing is ranged, your utility, some of it at least is ranged. Yeah, your range is almost infinite with yeah, it is wild. So we had situations to just give you an idea of like ranging capabilities, where we had QTP. I was standing behind the boss for once, someone dropped the orb, all our kites went down, all the players' kites went down, and we had a bow over there, staff healing over there, empower on the group, and I quite literally healed the entire frigging arena all at once. That is not a thing you can do on any other build. This is quite an extreme example, of course, right? That doesn't really happen often. But again, when things happen away from you, yeah, you just take care of stuff. And otherwise, again, just do your boons and whatever mechanic is required. Next, Heal Scourge. The thing is, Heal Scourge makes you win. Yeah, it just makes you win. Because you will just never really die unless it's a one-shot mechanic. The problem is, and I kind of don't like, it makes you basically come back from downstate. I like it a little bit more if you don't go to downstate in the first place, if that makes any sense. Right, and for everyone around Heal Scourge, that will actually probably never happen because all the barrier, because again, people do mechanics, right? There's someone kiting over there. Things have to be taken care of, and you can't just do it all. You're very limited with your ranged toolkit. So you're here, you make everyone live, you blast the boss, you pick them back up if necessary. You're gonna win at the end of the day, right? It is what it is. It would be a little bit better if it wasn't like this all the time and you had more, yeah. It's like training wheels, right? It will get you there, right? But I would consider the other options more impactful. Also, you don't really deal with boss mechanics so much in the Heal Scourge, right? You're like in charge of keeping everyone alive, you're doing your boons, barrier, but you're not going to be the guy that takes care of an ad, does the bubble, does the pull, does the whatever it may be. Right. Yeah. But at the end of the day, excellent. Next we have Herald, easily. Excellent boons, excellent healing. You can do, well, now barrier, one thing. As well, you are free to use Jealous more often, except besides Ventari, unless you have to do the bubble. You have your range toolkit in like some way. I feel like this is if you can, I feel like this becomes really good when you can play it really well. I know that from experience as well, actually. The energy management can be tricky, especially when many things happen at the same time. The problem was on Ventari, things are quite pricey in terms of energy costs. So if you have to do a bubble, so let's say basically you have to burst heal, but you have to do a bubble, and you also want to give boons at some point, or maybe even clan, like, I don't know, a million things happen. You're somewhat limited. You can do all of these things as well, but you have to do it after another. And also check the balance. So you want to have quickness and maybe a block, so you bubble. Then you have to burst heal, and this will eat a huge portion of your energy, and your bubble will suffer, and you're more exposed to projectiles on Adina, Sabir, whatever. So that's tricky to do decision making wise. And also, again, you have to do things after another. So you do boons, and then you burst the healing and or projectile, and then you boons again. So there's this constant back and forth. And when you just switched, the other thing is not as accessible anymore for the next 10 seconds or something. Right, so it's a little bit limited, but at the end of the day, in the regular fight, it gets the job done super well. Yeah, also we have so many other heralds around, that's actually true, yeah? Let's see, so we have that, then we have, of course, here mix as well, right? Like, how can it not be A? Like, how can it not be up there? It is ridiculous, all the boons, all the barrier. In a similar way to Scourge, it has better ranged options at range, just due to the golem. You can send him away, drop him somewhere else, give all the boons barrier over there. Boons at range, even swiftness, region, all that kind of stuff. It is the reason why it's so widely played in HCCM as a kite, because you can just literally be at 2 spots at the same time, more or less. Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't have to go into depth for this, really. Let's see, we had, what's the other ones? We had these ones earlier. Let's do yeah, sure. What's the other one? Tempest and Oh yeah, Scrapper. I kind of want to put 1 second. Yeah, sure. Let's just skip to Scrapper in a way. As sure, yeah, why not? Yeah, Scrapper is a weird one, right? Like I said, the Boon access not amazing. You have to pair this with an Alec DPS that makes a whole lot of sense. Back in the day, I really liked Alec Mirage, but it's not really something people play as much anymore. But any of the day, the healing is ridiculous. The toolkit in terms of utility is amazing. Breakbar damage is fine. Just blast all the breakbars down, you will counter. There's function gyro, which is basically your heal scourge in a pocket. It is also a AoE. It's a group rest, so it's not just one target, it's multiple ones, and it's ranged, so you can throw this at people and rest them somewhere else, or help your teammates rest while you just blast your healing or whatever it may be. Yeah, it's a good one. It's not like you go to carry build for sure, right? But it's a completely viable option. Just want to make sure that someone else covers the boons that you don't have if you wanted to play this one. I kind of did I forget something from you? I think those ones, right? Yeah, okay, sure. Let's see. You also pick Tempest. You can also play in. Let me think. Yeah. Over here. Everything else goes basically now a little bit lower there, due to limited options, trade-offs, all that kind of stuff, right? You're not like the multi-talent anymore, basically, but you're a super solid healer and Booner. On Tempest, Rebound is a really nice, let's call it a lifeline, if you can use your Rebound well timed, prevent a lot of deaths frequently, all the time. You shouldn't get into this situation in the first place, of course, but yeah. It falls a bit off on the break bar damage and just general utility, but that's more due to it being Ellie, and the core toolkit is just not that. But it is, at the end of the day, it has 10-player healing capabilities, like I said, on the Warhorn. So even if your healer in the second subgroup is slacking a little bit, you have at least options there to heal into the subgroup just right away with your Warhorn abilities and help out over there as well before you even overheal. Usually you have to overheal your group or barrier them up and then heal in the other one. On the Warhorn, at least, you can just work around this. Just aim this in your group, make own live. It is quite huge healing on both disabilities, so this will help you other struggling healer there, maybe whoever that may be. That's that. Yeah, again, this is really weird actually to put this up here, but it's the boons are amazing. The healing, I would really not underestimate this. It's not like A or S tier healing, but it is incredibly bursty. It's ranged as well. Both Truth is insane ability. I cannot understate this enough. Yeah, we're doing the final tier list now. So we did healing, damage mitigation, boon access, utility, and now it's the final one. This is for your everyday raid experience, not for speedrunning or something. Because Druid would be in a different tier, and Scourge would actually not be an A or something. So we have range healing. It is has 4 burst heals. Is that correct? 1, 2, 3. Yes, 4 burst heals. One of them is ranged. It is quite juicy. It is not very consistent, unfortunately, because calls are quite long, so you have to know when to use them. Timing matters. There is a skill component to this, and yeah. But at the end of the day, right? This again, we managed to out heal the Vanguard and Greens for an entire squad of 10 players quite comfortably. which is weird, right? It's because it's Willbanner, but that gives you an idea of where everyone else should be at. And the fact that it could just even do that. Yeah, then we have the ones that are weird. I kind of, what do I put them as C? It's so weird. The warrior healer is generally good. It even has barrier and stuff. Again, protection is weird. Because the star 3 it forces you to play single target. Actually, we can maybe put this up here. It's like the very end of B. But you have to play single target ally targeting just for prod. It is so weird. It moves you. It's really inconvenient, and you don't really get to do anything else besides your booning healing thing. The elite banner is actually kind of nice in a way, but to like rest your teammates and whatnot. But I feel like this is not a build where you show up and you're like, hey, let me take care of stuff, right? It's not that's not it. So you're just kind of there, and your team has to play well, and if they don't and things go to shit, you're just standing there and you're watching. So yeah. The Spectre, I actually have to put this as well. It's so weird. You have the option to play single target on Spectre, and I've seen people use this in ways that are really nice. For example, when you decide to play Kaineng CM and you only play with one heal, or let's say your kiting position, like the organization is a bit all over the place. The single target barrier can be very neat in these situations, but I don't really ever see people use this at all. I have used it like twice or something myself. And then also, again, besides your booning, healing, maybe a little of barrier, you're not gonna do much else. You're spamming your wells outside of Shroud, you're going into Shroud. When you lose your Shroud, you're shit out of luck. Yeah, and also you're somewhat squishy actually on Spectre outside of Shroud as well. That's even worse. So your self-sustain is not even that impressive either. Like on Warrior, you're at least not gonna die. That's like the benefit there, but yeah. Yeah. I also want to say, I feel like currently, I think Herald and Hirmek are in a very interesting spot. I think these feel like mirror images of each other. When I was thinking about this, this is like the counterpart of each other in a weird way. They both have still like their problems in a way. I mean, it's not like super impactful, it's not like the end of the world, right? But you know what, it's like it's not super perfect thing. But it's like the counterpart. Heal Scourge is a separate thing in itself. It's Heal Scourge, and then you have your multi-talents, and then the ones that just like, they're gonna support you, they can do a thing or two, they have some carry potential. It's not impressive, but right, it gets the job done. And then you have the weird ones. Yeah. Do we have any additions to this? Did I forget something? Is someone not agreeing with this at all whatsoever? If so, let me know. Again, if I forgot something, please remind me. 66%. Yeah, you have to get to 69, Jose, and then you have to stop immediately. And it doesn't change the UI, everything ally targeting. Yeah, I feel like to make the ally targeting better, you have to at least be able to move your squad UI from the top left. And either in the bottom middle, or like just somewhere, wherever you like it. I think that's like the absolute bare minimum. So you can at least click in onto the name or something else without the mouse traveling all the way up there. Druid also good support. Oh yeah, this is for like raids and strikes and stuff, like more 10-player instance content. Yeah, there are druids in What's World, I believe, very widely. We talked to Saiga before I started this. Saiga is a NA streamer who's doing World vs. World all the time. We talked to him about here Firebrands and here Chronos in World vs. World. And because ANET said they want to have here Chronos as an alternative to heal Firebrands and World vs. World. And he has checked these situations now in the last few days and talked to people, and they tried things, and he also checked in with other groups that are playing World vs. World. Apparently at the current state here, Chrono is not quite good enough to compete with here Firebrand in World vs. World. Because it does all the things, but significantly less of everything. So I don't know how ANET will solve this, or if they even like bother to like change things even more there. I don't know. But for World vs. World, I think it still looks a little bit tricky for Chrono, but for raids and strikes, I can tell you, it looks really good. Hello, Nemi, how are you doing? You have a good start into the weekend. I think this is kind of it. I think this makes a lot of sense to everyone. Right? You have your problem solvers. You're like, I can do stuff. I can I take care of stuff, right? I make you live through the fight in terms of good, and then it goes from there. Yeah. Also, I think it makes sense why, like all the different aspects. That's why I wanted to split these. So, yeah. Again, okay, nobody is disagreeing with this, so I guess we're all on the same page, I guess. So, very good.